Hey everybody, welcome to the Torah Matinee SHIUR, always a special occasion. This time I'm back in the shul. It's the end of October now. The last time I was in the shul was 4th of July weekend. Turns out that was the last time anybody was in shul, that our state let us come together a couple times, and then, it's been illegal ever since. And so, Jews aren't able to worship in synagogues still. I saw the rabbi a couple days ago, and his family's doing well. They were able to do high holy services outdoors in a congregant's yard, and the rabbi told me that he was the Hazan, the Sliach Sibor for all of it. And I said, "Wow, Rabbi, that's a lot of work. Yasher Koach for holding up your end of the deal." But the shul's been empty, and I came in to just kind of look at things and see how it was, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that a lot of my Sforim were here. When Rachel moved to Israel, she brought a load of Sforim, and so my Mishnah Berurah sets are here. A bunch of my Musar works, just some of my most beautiful books. A lot of them aren't here. There's whole sets that didn't make it to the shul. My Rambam and Yalkut Yosef, my Tuvia Gemaras that I used for Daf Yomi for a couple cycles. Um, and so in some ways, I'm disappointed. In other ways, I'm really happy. And that's the point of this year um, is that we have to find ways to really not have disappointment, but to see everything as good, and even things that appear to be bad. We have to go through the exercise of reflection and meditation, and just kind of figure out uh, how it is that it's good for us. That's our responsibility in this world. And I'm going to bring some examples of people who have really kind of just set themselves apart. And we've been reading from Parshat Noach, and Noah is a very good example of this, and it says it right in our text here. It says Noach ish tzadich tamim tamiam haya, right? That Noach was righteous in his generation. So there's a big discussion of why say it like this. Why say it at all? Why tell us that Noach was righteous? Because at the end of Parshat Bereshit, we see that that Noach was seen favorably in the eyes of Hashem. So favorably in the eyes of Hashem is something that I've had to very much focus on, because my life has taken many twists and turns lately that seem to be contrary to the kind of life that Hashem would want for me. But I've just come to understand that this isn't true. That everything that comes my way comes for a very specific reason, and with a learning principle attached to it, and an opportunity for spiritual growth. And I've made a fundamental shift where I'm able to see the world that way, and that's what we learn from Noach, that he was a tzaddik in his time, meaning whatever was in front of him that needed to be done, Noach would do it, and because he didn't hesitate to do the things that were expected of him, he was seen favorably in the eyes of Hashem. And that's a pretty simple formula then. If a person lives in a way that is pleasing to Hashem, then they will be pleasing to Hashem. And so, in order to live in a way that's pleasing to Hashem, we learn about that way, and then mold our actions and beliefs accordingly. And in time, it just becomes a fundamental basis of the way we think, and holiness becomes a natural state. And it's a beautiful and wonderful thing. But a person needs to be able to appreciate those moments when they're in those moments. And so I came to town. I've been ranging all up and down the coast for months now, doing all sorts of incredibly adventurous and just hardworking sorts of things. Just a lot of spiritual growth and a lot of just ethical growth and stepping into the role that I need to be stepping into. And coming to town, I was with the specific purpose of seeing if, in fact, all of my things were missing when Rachel moved to Israel. And so I look in the garage, and sure enough, it's all gone, everything. My art collection, my gear, my sforum, clothes, all of it, books, comics, vinyl records, and I pretty much expected that to be the case, and so I told myself, those things aren't important to me, and I'm able to maintain that feeling that I can't really carry things like that through my life anymore, and they served their purpose, and they got me to where I am today, and I'm grateful for my possessions, and it was nice knowing you. And I kind of had to apply that same reasoning to Rachel herself. That thank you for all the wonderful lessons and the beautiful opportunities, and for the bayit that I had, and for the ability to grow in my learning and my Yiddishkeit, and be part of a community, and to have stepkids, and all of those things that helped me to become the person that I am today, the person who's sitting here right now, the person who wants to be righteous in his time, and this time that we find ourselves in, sometimes it's difficult to be righteous. I mean, I ran away from the pandemic. There was a lot of tourists. I ended up in a place where there just simply was no Yiddishkeit. I think I was the only Jew in all of Big Sur, and in this way, I did Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, basically just as a chassid, and I accept that that's how I am, that's how it is. And so I come to the shul, and I find a bunch of my books are here, and also the rabbis' books, Hasidic books. Over the years, I've been learning the path of the Chassid, and I am very much that. I have a real korah tov to Chabad in general. The Chabad rabbis, all the way back to the beginning of my process. I could name them, and on and on and on. Rabbi Fradkin in San Diego was just instrumental. When I got to Oak Park, Rabbi Werner was just a pillar of strength for me. Here in Monterey, Rabbi Holtzberg has just been an incredible source of support, to this very moment. And I've just learned to be really grateful for everything that I've had. So I came into the shul, and I picked up this book. Turns out the rabbi got a lot of new books since the last time I was here. So this one is it's a Chabad book about this fellow here who was in Poland, and the Nazis came, and he escaped, and he was a bacher. He went and learned in a bunch of places like Vilna, and then Japan and Shanghai, and over the course of many years, ended up in America, where he ended up with something like 26, grandchildren. It's a beautiful story about bitachon and hashgacha pratit, about how everybody around him was despairing, and yet he kept his focus on the things that are important, and came out to have an important life, a full life and a good life, and that's a beautiful thing, and deeply inspired by the story of people who pick themselves up from the ashes of ruins that are much greater than mine. Hashem gives us the capability to carry the load that we carry, and it's ungrateful to not be excited and happy about it. So I picked up this other book, and this are some of the ideas that compelled me to want to give a share, because it's important for us to realize that even at the most simple and most basic level, that we still serve a purpose. And even when I was deep in the forest all by myself, the only Jew, people would see my way of thinking, the way that I would act, and the way that I would do things with my hands and abstain from certain things, and they could see that I had um, something in place, that was strong and powerful, and this was a kiddush Hashem, and when it came to the actual davening on the Yom Tovim, I didn't have a machzor, and so I was very much like the boy in the story who wanted to pray but didn't know how. So he just said the Aleph Bet, and the letters rose to heaven, and the heavenly court said, "Wow, look at the sincerity of this simple Jew." And and so I've had to come to the realization, that I'm a simple Jew. For a long time, I thought I was fancy because I had a lot of learning, and I don't know, I thought I was pretty smart. But I've been beaten down, pretty good, and maybe I just don't need to be so smart anymore. So I was reading this book called The Great Mission. It's the life story of the Baal Shem Tov, and again Hasidish. The Baal Shem was apparently the first person to really take to wandering around in the wilderness and feeling a closeness to Hashem through his creations, and he speaks very much of how God runs the world, God knows what he's doing, and Baal Shem tells about how he says to imagine a giant mountain, and and at the and at this mountain there's a great forest, right? And then in this great forest there's a wide valley, and in this wide valley there's a field of grass, and in this field of grass the grass sways back and forth, and it goes this way, it goes that way, uh, and it seems to be just all completely natural and random. But the Baal Shem explains that all of it is created by the hand of Hashem, systematically orchestrated to achieve some sort of heavenly purpose. And that which way the grass blows, how long it blows, these are things that are heavenly matters. And that in order to make grass grow, God has to call in all the other things, water and sun, and in order to make it move, then he has to bring the wind, and all of these things work together to give you the effect of grass swaying, right? And if our God takes such an interest in such minutiae, then certainly our lives shouldn't be it shouldn't be a surprise that Hashem takes care of us. And so he takes it a step further, though, and he talks about how in the Baal Shem's time, which was probably the early 17th century, maybe. Um, there were Jews that were learned, um, but they held the simple unlearned laborer types in contempt, and and the shortfalls of the and the bad things in the world were pointed at these non-observant Jews by the observant Jews, and they would say, "If only you could do the mitzvot, um, we wouldn't be, in this terrible state of, famine or drought or whatever the problem was." The learned people would blame it on the unlearned ones. But what the learned Jews of the Baal Shem's time, like the Vilna Gaon, for instance, they didn't. They had lost touch of the fact that even the simple Jew, the non-learned Jew, the one that doesn't know how to do mitzvot, that the spirituality is still present, and even in their humble efforts, they can still achieve great spiritual gains, and that not everything has to happen at a high level. That things can occur at the level that you're at as well. And if you're not a great person, okay, um, then your mediocre actions also have an effect. And so by explaining to the people that you do in fact serve a very great purpose, and that your contribution is important and necessary, this would give the people chizuk to carry forward. And I wanted to share this because this is the kind of thing that keeps me going, is that I'm not able to live in the way that I want to. I'm not able to live in the way that I feel that Hashem would want me to. But nonetheless, I do live. And because I'm alive, I try to do what's in front of me to the best of my ability. And it ends up being a very small and simple contribution. And I have to content myself with that in a world where so many things are crashing down around us. So many of the things that we held dear and just that we wanted so very much seem to have gone away, um, maybe forever. People are still just crazy in town, and so many times a day I have to like dig for my mask, and I don't wear a mask. I don't have any fear. Um, so Sadiq in our times, right? We all know what the right thing is in the situations that we find ourselves in. Unfortunately, we're very good at rationalizing and making excuses and pushing things off and procrastinating. But as I get older, I'm finding maybe I don't have so much procrastination time left. And maybe I don't have the time to just do everything that's expected of me. Instead, now I can just concentrate on the things that are important. and I know what those things are intuitively. It doesn't take really any exercise to talk yourself into doing the right thing, right? Talk yourself out of doing the right thing takes a whole lifetime of excuses. And so my prayer for you, my blessing for you in the Parshat Noach time is that you can stand tall in what you do and feel proud that your contribution is valuable and important. And even though sometimes we have low self esteem, we don't see ourselves as important, it is my wish and my hope that Hashem will give you the feeling that you are, in fact, important and that the things you do are necessary to the world and that the whole world is relying on you to hold up your little bit. And so may you find the strength to carry through on the important things that are in front of you and to not put it off, right? Sometimes we run out of time, and once the situation's gone, it's gone, and there's no bringing it back. And so don't let those moments slip away from you anymore. All right? So, only good things. Zacha Baruch. And I'm going to be in town for a little while, so give me a call. All right, bye.